we'll start with the Eastern Illinois baseball team who traveled to St. Louis to try and sweep the Billikens on their own turf. The last time these two teams met, the Panthers got home field advantage and won, but this time it's a different story. EIU has a 6-20 record on the road this season, while the Billikens are 13-3 at home. Even though St. Louis has had a better record this season, the Panthers lead the all-time series at 25-20. Teams hit the field for play tonight at 6. Freshman Chase Thurston will be the starting pitcher for the Panthers. And while the Panthers look to sweep the Billikens, both Chicago baseball teams are coming off a win at home, and they look to keep that momentum going tonight. The Cubs are the first of the Chicago teams slated for tonight as they head to Cincinnati to take on the Reds. The Cubs are 1-2 against the Reds this year and have an 8-16 record on the season. The teams will hit the field for the game a little after 6. As for the White Sox, they hope to stay above 500 as they take on the Tigers at home. Last time these teams met were in Detroit, with Chicago tied the series at 2 apiece. First pitch is a little after 7 at U.S. Cellular Field. Well, Mike Matheny would like to forget this one as soon as possible. The St. Louis Cardinals are in Milwaukee to take on the Brewers again tonight at 7, but last night the Redbirds blew a 3-run lead in the 7th inning, and Chris Davis hit a run-scoring triple in the 12th to lead the Milwaukee Brewers to a 5-3 win. Tonight the Cardinals' Lance Lynn matches up against a former Redbird, Kyle Loesch, and Monday's loss now puts St. Louis 5.5 games behind Milwaukee. Well, with their backs against the ropes, the Chicago Bulls look to put it all on the line. The Bulls are fighting a losing battle against the young Washington Wizards team. After a career day from the Washington Wizards guard Trevor Ariza on Sunday, the Bulls are down in the series 3-1. As they've done all season, the Bulls look to rally and get back into the series. Game 5 will be played tonight in the United Center at 7. It's win or go home for the Bulls. In other NBA news tonight, Los Angeles Clippers owner Donald Sterling has been banned for life by the NBA in response to racist comments the league says he made in a recorded conversation. Commissioner Adam Silver says he'll also try to force the controversial owner to sell his franchise. With strong performances in men's sports this year for the Eastern Illinois Athletic Program, they're ranked in the top 25 in the Capital One Cup standings. The Capital One Cup is an NCAA athletics award honoring the top Division I men's and women's college athletic programs in the country. EIU Athletics program is currently tied for 23rd in the men's standings with 24 points due to their 4th place finish in FCS football. The winning school that brings home the Capital One Cup also gets $200,000 in the scholarship funds for their athletic department, and they will be there. And on to the next story. A Charleston man is qualified for one of the toughest races in the United States. The Race Across America is a 3,000-mile race taking place over 12 days, starting in Oceanside, California, and ending in Annapolis, Maryland. Sports Watch's Nate Page reports on Keith Wolcott's road to becoming one of the few cyclists to ever finish this grueling challenge.
Keith Wolcott is a cyclist with one goal: to finish the race he's been dreaming about since he picked up the sport 20 years ago. But Wolcott says this achievement will be tougher than you might think.
Quite a few qualify, but only about 300 in the last 32 have succeeded. So not many actually succeed. About 50% who try fail.
This task is something no cyclist can accomplish alone, and that's why his wife Ellen Wolcott will be in charge of a team of 8, which will make sure he makes it to the finish line.
As crew chief, I'm in charge of the 8-member crew that we have going along with him. RAM requires every racer to have at least 2 support vehicles and 2 crew members in each of those, and we're going to go with 3 vehicles and 8 crew members.
Wolcott started his training for the race last year, and he says every part of his workouts have been intense, and lately he's had to up the ante.
The last 6 weeks I've been doing 500 miles a week.
But it hasn't just been Keith preparing for this feat. Ellen has had more than a handful of tasks come her way this past year.
I spent several months putting together maps of the course because the maps that we get from the actual race people don't have enough detail on it to help us avoid missing turns.
Missing turns was far from the Wolcott's minds just a year ago. Keith wasn't even trying to qualify for the race when he got the news he'd be making this coast-to-coast trip.
I didn't plan on doing this race. I was just doing this other race, and it happened to be a qualifying race, and then I got to thinking about it and thinking that maybe there's a chance I could do it.
Since then, the Race Across America has completely taken over their lives.
We just basically think and talk RAM most of the time.
In Charleston, I'm Nate Page for WEIU Sports Watch.
Well, Keith Wolcott is just a month away from his adventure. The race begins June 10th and must be finished by the 22nd. As for the future, Wolcott says after this challenge, he'll be competing in some more relaxing races. Finally, in sports, weather postpones the University of Illinois baseball game against Southern Illinois Carbondale tonight. The game has been moved to tomorrow night at 5 from Illinois Field in Champaign. That's all for sports. Jaleesa, Maggie, back to you.
Rainy conditions are in the forecast all week, and Skywatch forecaster Jessica Dixon will have a recap of conditions for all of East Central Illinois coming right up.
But first, this movie star isn't exactly patient with one news anchor's monkey business. Thanks for watching. This is News Watch on WEIU. And thanks for joining us. And remember, for more news and weather anytime, be sure to log on to our website at weiu.net.
And if news is happening in your community, let us know by dropping us an email at news@weiu.net.
Coming up at 6:30 on WEIU, it's Being Well with your host, Lori Casey.
Have a good night and join us again tomorrow here on the area's only local newscast on PBS.
All right, well, we'll start with the Eastern Illinois men's soccer team. They'll be under new leadership after signing a new head coach today. Interim athletic director Dr. Dan Nadler announced Mark Hansen will take over the team. Hansen joined the program in 2005 as a goalkeeper and graduated in 2008 with 34 career wins and set the school record for best career goals against average. In 2009, he became the goalkeepers coach and recruiting coordinator until the end of 2013. And there'll soon be some new faces on the Eastern Illinois men's tennis team. EIU signed a pair of freshman recruits to join the 2014-15 roster. Preston Tuliatos and Jared Woodson, both are coming to Charleston from schools down south. Woodson is from Paducah, Kentucky, where he lost only 2 matches in his high school career. Tuliatos comes from Birmingham, Alabama, where he finished with a perfect 13-0 record in his senior season. And as the EIU men's tennis team prepares for next season, the most important part of the season continues for the Lakeland softball team. The 15-8 Lady Lakers travel to take on Kaskaskia College tomorrow for the regional semifinal game. During the season, the Lakeland softball team only lost once out of the 4 meetings against Kaskaskia. Lakeland head softball coach Nick Nelson says he believes they've done all they can to prepare his team for the game. Now they just have to get themselves mentally focused.
It's all about the attitude of the player and the mental aspect of the player. So, man, just keep the girls light and getting prepared to go. So, strategies of hitting and throwing and catching, we're at the point where they either got it or they don't. So, right now, it's just all getting in the mood if they think they can win and get in that mental state where they can get ready to go.
The teams will take the field for semifinal action tomorrow at noon. As for who will be the starting pitcher for the Lakers, we don't know yet, but we do know the winner of tomorrow's game moves on to the regional finals to face the winner of Wabash Valley versus Olney College. Lady Lakers aren't the only ones with a day off. These local pro teams are resting up for a big weekend ahead of them. Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals will renew their rivalry in a weekend series at Wrigley Field with day games tomorrow and Saturday. Sunday's game will be a nationally televised night game. As for the Chicago White Sox, they start a series with the Cleveland Indians tomorrow at 6. But the Sox still won't be without Chris Sale. He'll stay on the disabled list with a muscle strain in his left arm. But Sox manager Robin Ventura says the pitcher is feeling better. As the pros get some rest, Eastern Illinois University will be adding 6 new members to their Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2014. Members include Amanda Bowes, who swam for Eastern from 98 to 2001, Brad Fitchell, who played football for the university from 89 to 92, Rachel Galligan, who was a dual sport athlete playing basketball and throwing javelin for EIU from 2006 to 2009, Ron White was a member of the track team from 2000 to 2002, Rick Samuels, who coached the Panthers basketball team for 25 years from 81 to 2005, and Dr. Joni Comstock, who was a 2-sport athlete heading into volleyball and badminton from 1975 to 1979. The ceremony for these former Panthers will take place at the September 6th football game against Southern Illinois. And finally, the Chicago Blackhawks will open their second-round NHL playoff series against the Minnesota Wild at home tomorrow. I know I'm excited. The Blackhawks beat Minnesota in 5 games in the first round of the playoffs last year. But that's it. Brayden, Savannah, back to you.
Thanks, Nick. I know I'm looking forward to that game as well. The sun returns to start our weekend. Skywatch forecaster Jessica Dixon returns next to recap conditions in Charleston, Villa Grove, Shelbyville, and all the area up next.
But first, a message in the sand catches one meteorologist in Florida off guard. Thanks for watching. This is News Watch on WEIU.
No, that's it. Veg, watch the Hawks win.
All right, thanks, Jess.
Well, for more news and weather anytime, be sure to log on to our website at weiu.net.
There you'll find real-time forecasts and our news video of the day.
And if news is happening in your community, let us know by dropping us an email at news@weiu.net.
Have a great night and join us again here tomorrow on the area's only local newscast on PBS.